So, how on earth does a royal prince get tangled up with one of the most notorious criminal networks of our time? Well, it's a story that involves power, secrets, and a whole lot of money paid to keep those secrets under wraps. Today, we're going to dig into the court files and see what's really going on. It really all comes down to this one number, $16.3 million. That is the staggering sum Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, reportedly paid to settle a civil sexual abuse lawsuit right here in the United States. A massive figure that made sure this case never, ever went to trial. And just like that, with one dry legal sentence, the entire battle was over. Now, the key phrase here is with prejudice. That's basically legal speak for a permanent lock on the courthouse door. It means this specific case can never be brought against him ever again. So, yeah, the lawsuit was finished, but believe me, the public questions were just getting started. Okay, Section 1, a royal settlement. So, what did that $16.3 million really buy? You could argue it bought silence. It ensured the whole thing ended long before it could ever really begin in a public courtroom. Section 2 is all about the allegations. Because when you strip everything else away, this entire lawsuit boils down to two people, Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew, and a story of very serious claims met with a very firm denial. So on one side, you have Virginia Giuffre's claim. Her lawsuit alleged that the Duke of York sexually abused her on 3 separate occasions, all when she was a minor, under the age of 18. On the other side, Prince Andrew, who has consistently and very publicly denied these allegations. That fundamental conflict right there, that's what this entire case was built on. But here's where the timing gets really interesting. This settlement was announced just about a month before Prince Andrew was scheduled to sit for a deposition. Now, a deposition isn't some friendly chat. It's a formal, videotaped interview where he'd have to answer questions from Giuffre's lawyers, under oath. The settlement meant that deposition, and any potential bombshells it might have contained, just never happened. All right, Section 3, the Epstein connection. You simply cannot understand this lawsuit in a vacuum. It's just impossible. The allegations against the prince are like a single thread in a vast, dark, and incredibly complicated criminal web spun by the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. The two main figures at the center of this web are, of course, Jeffrey Epstein himself, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender who used his power to build a network of influential friends, and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the British socialite who was convicted of sex trafficking for recruiting and grooming young, vulnerable women for Epstein as part of this huge international operation. And this, right here, is the direct link. This is what pulls the prince into the story. His friendship with both Epstein and Maxwell, a relationship often described in court papers and news reports as unseemly, is the very foundation of the allegations made against him by Virginia Giuffre. Epstein's own legal history was, to put it mildly, controversial. An investigation kicked off back in 2005. But in 2008, he managed to get a secret plea deal that many people call a slap on the wrist. Just 13 months in jail. Then, in 2019, he was arrested again on federal sex trafficking charges, but he never made it to trial. He was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell in August of that year. Now, Epstein's death wasn't the end of the story, not even close. In fact, it led to this huge surge of public interest and the recent unsealing of what everybody now calls the Epstein files. But what are they, really? So let's be clear, the Epstein files aren't some secret spy dossier. They are simply thousands of pages of legal documents. We're talking depositions, testimony, motions, and other evidence from a 2015 defamation lawsuit between Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell. These files were sealed for years, and now, piece by piece, the courts are making them public. And what you're looking at right here is a perfect example. It's a page from one of those very documents, a standard legal declaration. This is the raw material. This is the paper trail from a long, complex legal fight that makes up the Epstein files. And the scale of this is just massive. Recent releases have pushed the total number of pages made public into the millions, over 3 million, in fact. It's a mountain of information that journalists and researchers are still sifting through, and it contains names, dates, and details that were hidden from public view for a very long time. Okay, Section 4, a case closed? So now that we have all this wider context about the Epstein network, let's circle all the way back to that $16.3 million settlement and ask, what does it truly signify? This leads us to the crucial question. If a case is just dismissed like this, what's the verdict? Well, the thing is, a settlement is not a verdict. There is no finding of guilt or innocence. In the eyes of the law, it just means the fight is over, without a winner ever being declared. As part of the official settlement, Prince Andrew's team released this statement. Now, it's not an admission of guilt, but in it, he says he regrets his association with Epstein. And, pretty notably, he commends the bravery of Ms. Giuffre. For anyone who followed his previous, firm denials, this was a pretty dramatic shift in tone. So, while the court case is officially finished, the story is far from over. The settlement might have closed the legal chapter for Prince Andrew, but his connection to the ever-expanding world of the Epstein files means that, in the court of public opinion, the verdict is still very much out.